Today I'm talking about Richard Attenborough's 1969 anti-war musical Satire, released by Eureka as part of the Masters of Cinema series. In fact, this is number 357, and is one of those titles that I was actively wary of. It didn't seem like my kind of thing. Musicals can be hit and a miss. War movies can sometimes be something I'm really ingratiated upon. I kind of love that aspect of filmmaking, but this seemed like a very different tact in following that. On the surface, it looks almost colourful, very theatrical, very playful. But as I watched this, underneath it's got something really devastating, because this film is about war as a spectacle, as a performance, as propaganda. War as a national event sold to ordinary people with cheerful songs and romantic language, and while in reality it's mud and death, incompetence and grief. And for that, I can absolutely see why it's been included in the Masters of Cinema series.
Nice smile from everybody. Austrian Archduke assassinated.
This film traces the First World War from the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in 1914 right through to the armistice in 1918, but it doesn't tell the story like a conventional war. Instead, it uses a family, the Smith family, whose sons enlist and are pulled into the conflict as a kind of narrative force to push the story through. Around them, the film builds this huge theatrical collage of history, of music, of satire, and they build it up wonderfully well. And the structure is what made this so unusual and so interesting to me. Now, this was Richard Attenborough's directorial debut, which is really kind of remarkable when you look at it, when you look at the scale of the film, when you look at the confidence of what he's wanting to do. This is not a small, safe first film. This is huge, complex. It's a formally bold war musical with a incredibly giant cast, an unusual structure, and a very clear political and emotional point of view.
Hey! Hey! I think I've won a prize. So have I.
You have, my lad. And so have you all.
I love how Attenborough doesn't approach the First World War as a traditional battlefield epic. He approaches it more like a pageantry gone wrong. It's what makes it fascinating. It keeps placing this cheerful public performance against the private suffering that they're having. And this bright imagery comes in that exposes something far horrific. There is this almost music hall approach to the songs as well. I was expecting these big, brash, loud song and dance numbers, but the songs are not really like that. They're very familiar songs. They are sang in groups of people together. I've seen people singing these songs together at family gatherings and things. The songs aren't there to entertain. They become part of the argument to the thesis of Attenborough's film here. Whether it be the recruitment songs or the patriotic songs or the soldier songs, everything is there to disguise the horror or to help people survive what's going on. And they have that initial charm to them when they start, and then you slowly realise how grotesque the lyrics are, and the cheerfulness starts to feel really obscene at moments, and I believe that's absolutely the point of this.
When we're bombed, we're scared as we can be. God stop the bombing men from higher Germany.
I love how war is shaped throughout this. It's not the usual kind of war movie you would get, but it keeps delivering it as in this propaganda sense. It's wonderful. Help your country. There's a moment where People are pulled out of a cabaret show and brought up to enlist, and as soon as they're behind the curtain, everything changes, and the friendly drill sergeant becomes this driving force, training these latest weapons to go into battle, and it has that kind of dichotomy all the way through the film. I like the fact that they've got this family there as a human thread throughout this historical canvas, and they're not presented as like the grand heroes of it, and it's the ordinariness of the family that really matters, I guess, because they're a cipher for an every person. It was, it shows that this war was fought by sons and brothers and fathers and husbands and friends. You can how it takes the characters from starting to enlist, which is somehow like a pride, something patriotic to do. It's socially expected, and then it drains that excitement away, and the family become a national sacrifice more than anything, and it's where the film really becomes kind of painful.
Get back into line, you horrible little man, you! And all of you! From now on, your bloody life won't be worth living, and you won't bloody die laughing either!
Some of the sharpest satire in the film comes from the generals. These scenes are incredibly strange and unusual and completely removed from the reality of the world around about them, and that's exactly the point. They discuss strategy. They speak in this kind of calm, detached terms about complete catastrophe and deaths by the thousands, because they're making the decisions and they're not actually seeing the ramifications of these. They're not walking into machine fire. They're not becoming a statistic. And it's one of the great anti-war ideas within the film. War's often represented as a noble sacrifice, but the film keeps asking, sacrificed for whom and for what? These people who are sitting in their lofty ivory towers making decisions that will kill thousands?
The attack will be driven home with the bayonet. I feel that every step I take is guided by the divine will.
The cast, incredible. Laurence Olivier, John Gielgud, Ralph Richardson, Dirk Bogarde, Michael Redgrave, Vanessa Redgrave, Maggie Smith, John Mills, Susannah York, Corey Redgrave, Jack Hawkins. Everywhere you turn there is a familiar face, and it feels so welcoming. In fact, at times it's almost overwhelming. It doesn't just use the cast for the star glamour, it uses it to become part of the pageantry of the presentation. I really enjoyed this film a lot more than I thought I was going to. It delivered an anti-war sentiment that I wasn't expecting. It delivered it in such an interesting and colourful and entertaining way that allows you to be entertained while still hammering home that really strong message that it has. As a debut, it is incredible that Attenborough pulled this off. The cast, to gather them all together, is a monumental task, and to make this as memorable, as fun, as engaging as it is, was just incredible all over. I really was won over by this movie, a movie that I really wasn't sure I wanted to watch. Just goes to show you. Let's dive into the disc and have a look at the extras. Here we are in the disc for Oh, What a Lovely War. You have the film, and we have a commentary by Richard Attenborough, a second commentary by Melanie Williams and Lawrence Napper. Your Country Needs You, depictions of World War I in British cinema, is an interview with Simon Brown. This runs for 32 minutes 48 seconds and runs through almost the history of films focusing on World War I. Some of them had big impacts, some did not. Some of them have lasting legacies, and he kind of builds through them up until this film. Next, there is the three-part making of documentary. Now, you can play them all at once, and together they all run in for 1 hour, 40 minutes, 42 seconds, and it's a great retrospective looking back, focusing with a lot of people involved with the film. You actually get to see Attenborough himself talking about it, which is a great idea. I particularly like the stories at the start where he's talking about wanting to adapt this into a film and the kind of pushback that he was getting for that, his ideas of what he wanted. Also included in this set is a 16-page booklet with the essay Richard Attenborough, The Turning Point by Andy Dugan. And that's the extras for Oh, What a Lovely War. So there we have it. Oh, What a Lovely War is part of the Masters of Cinema series and is great. It's another great release. It's one that you should absolutely check out. Colourful, entertaining, deeply shocking, and leaves you with a lot to think about. Just a terrific release. I would love to know your thoughts on Oh, What a Lovely War. Let me know in the comment box below whether you love it, hate it, whether you're thinking of checking this one out, or if you've just bypassed it and never thought twice about looking at it because it looks typical of these kind of period of time in films. It's absolutely not, and worthwhile checking out, but I'd love to know your thoughts. As always, there is more content up here. You can see more of my stuff. In the description box below are links to Patreon, membership program, and to manvfilm.com, always in which you can support me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.